Say hello, Lucas. He's nearly 7 months old and his two bottom front teeth are coming through. And he's now sleeping a little bit longer at night. He only used to sleep about 2 or 3 hours and wake up for breast milk. But now he's sleeping about 4 or 5, sometimes 6, which is always good. Hello and welcome. You know who I am. Welcome to naturalnews.tv. It's been a while, but I'm back. I haven't really been away. I've just been spending more time with my family and obviously being of service to my clients. And what I'd like to do now is to invite you on a journey to have a greater understanding about masculine and feminine energies. Let's label them as yin and yang. Should we just call them balance? These are just some terms which may connect with you. The reason for reminding you about this information is if you are not in balance for whatever reason in your life, it's going to lead to the physical stress in the body, and then that's likely to lead to a disease. The body is not at ease. So what do I mean when I say masculine and feminine? They're energies. I'm not saying masculine refers necessarily to a man or feminine to a woman. However, a woman's core is feminine and a man's core is masculine. An example for myself, I have a 70-30 split. 70% masculine, 30% feminine. In other words, throughout a given week or a given day, 70% of the time I'm on a mission, I know where I'm going, I know what I'm doing, I'm being organised, and I'm very focused. I've got quite a bit of freedom, and I'm in my masculine. And then 30% of the time I like to relax, I might watch some love films with my wife, I like to listen to my son and watch him play, I like to receive praise, and those are the feminine side. Now if you are a woman working in a bank, climbing a corporate ladder, wearing trousers or a suit, the chances are you're spending a lot of time in your masculine. However, if within yourself, let's say you've got a ratio of 70% feminine, 30% masculine, and you're spending far more time in the masculine, then that's going to cause you stress. I mean, if you imagine coming home after being on the front line, working a productive day, and your partner does the same thing, and you're both in your masculine, north and south. If you imagine yourself as two magnets, and you're both in your masculine, north and north will repel one another. So one of you is required to change without an expectation that the other person will go into their feminine. So you are just so handsome, aren't you? Look at just such a little cutie. Say hello. He's bouncing away. I read some research many years ago that if you have a child's fast and slow twitch muscle fibres, and there are different types of fast twitch, but they can be developed within the first 6 months. So about 3.5, 4 months of age, I decided to get him in the bouncer. And he wasn't very efficient at it, but I've done my best. So hopefully he'll be a sprinter when he grows up. Only kidding. Well, there's some truth in what I shared, but I'm not interested if he can be a sprinter. So back onto these energies. If you're a type of person, you might be a man and you tell something to somebody. Remember, as a man, the only thing you can offer is your word. Without your word, you have nothing else to offer, in my opinion. However, let's say you make a statement that you're going to do something, or you're going to be at a certain location at a certain time, and you do not do that, then that's very much a part of the feminine energy. In the moment, in the masculine, you said what you said, but moments later, things change. Just become aware of that. I know quite a lot of people who make statements or say they're going to do something and they don't. And I usually will pull them up on their stuff if required, if I feel I'm being of service to them. So just imagine if you're in your feminine and another person's in their feminine, and let's say you're on a phone. Let's just, for the sake of argument, let's say it's two women, and they're on the phone. They're on the phone for a couple of hours talking away. What was the point of the conversation? Well, obviously it was the conversation. But I'm in my masculine, haven't seen somebody for 22 years, phoned him up, got in touch with him. I'll see you on a certain day, time, not even 15 minutes on the phone. I haven't seen that person for 22 years. It doesn't matter. That's me in my masculine. By the way, I don't form judgments as any of them being right or wrong. There are no rights and wrongs. There just is. The point is, does it serve you? Being in the masculine or in the feminine. Let me provide you with some more examples. If you can liken this. Imagine if you're a man in a relationship. Well, let's say you're a man, but you're in your masculine. How about being the banks? Just imagine being the banks and allowing the feminine, perhaps your partner, to be the river. But here's the deal. I don't want you to structure the river. Certainly those banks may be a little bit flexible, but they're certainly strong. That's all you're required to be in the relationship, not to take things personally, because that's not your job to do that. Thank you very much, Lucas. Yes, baby darling. Accept your reality. You don't have to like it. But being of service to your partner will certainly take your relationship to another level, unless, of course, you engage your ego. So my invite to you is to, well, maybe another analogy may help. Just imagine you're a man on a mission, you're in your boat, and you know exactly where you're going on the ocean. You know where your destination is, and everything's fixed. If you can imagine the feminine is the ocean, if you weren't too sure where you're going and you were a bit wishy, and you went into uncharted territory, the chances are something may come up. And a storm brews, and all of a sudden the ship sinks. That's another simple analogy. If you've ever read any of David Dada's work, The Way of a Superior Man, great book for women and men to read, Dear Lover, Blue Truth, Intimate Communion. Those are just 4 of his books that I've read. He has written other books. And I've studied a lot of the work with a company called Warrior Sage, with a wonderful gentleman called Satyen Raja and his wife Suzanne and their team. Incredible beings. And what I've realised is that if I am not in balance with my energies, that causes me stress. When I opened up my own health studio a couple of years back now, and I was on the front line, working 6, nearly 7 days a week if I decided to do my taxes on the Sunday. And my partner would say to me, Sarah would say to me, she said, oh, where do you want to go? And I go, I don't know. I didn't want to make a decision. I've been on the masculine, on the front line all day, probably 80-90% of the time. That didn't serve me. So I just didn't want to make a decision afterwards. What I'd like you to do is just become aware of this, because I do know of certain relationships where, let's say the man on his masculine, been on the front line, he comes home, and rather than necessarily connecting with his wife, who may have been perhaps in her masculine taking care of the children, he decides to check out on kokanee, or some beer, or some alcohol, or maybe some other drug. That's because he wants to get his feminine fix. However, my invite would be to look for all other alternatives. Watching television, movement, emotion, energy, they're all feminine. Pretty much most things are feminine. If you're looking at locations, one great example would be Hawaii. That's very much the feminine. The most masculine location that I've been to would be New York. Straight buildings, people know exactly where they're going. That's the masculine. Again, the locations, places, I'm sure you'll understand and get the feeling of what I'm trying to share here. However, in a relationship, if you are not in balance with your own energies, that will cause you stress and will eventually lead to a disease. So my invite to you is just to become mindful, just to become aware and find out if they are of service to you. If you're spending too much time in your masculine or in your feminine, does it serve you? An example for a woman who spends a lot of time in the masculine, what I would advise you to do, or best advice you can take is your own, my invite to you would be perhaps to do your nails, spend some time doing your hair, dance around your place naked, dance to some music, go out social with your girlfriends, bathe yourself. Those kind of things are then moving into the feminine. So those are just some examples which I share with you. And of course, I think he's had enough and he's bouncing. I'm going to have to take him out. As always, when you're doing this, have fun, play with it, because certainly with a relationship with a man and a woman, whether you decide to change your energies, as in a man being his feminine, a woman in her masculine, you can have fun and enjoy it. It can take your relationship to a whole new level. Again, read some of David Dada's work. It's fantastic. That's my new teacher. You know where I set my non-disturbance levels? He manages to push those buttons every time. You are handsome, aren't you? Do you want me to take you out? You're so cute. Let's just see little happy Baba. Lucas, do you want to just say goodbye? Lucas, turn around. Say bye-bye. Thank you for listening. Hopefully this has been useful. As always, my love, create yourself a great day. Bye for now.